Give me, oh, hey, we're live, man. That was quicker than I expected. Episode 89, This Life in Tech. I'm Jason.
And here I am back, having reclaimed my throne. The honorable, distinguished Dan.
Oh, man. Speaking of honorable, how dishonorable are our senators?
You know, I'd say don't get me started, but, you know.
Dude, I didn't watch it at the beginning for no other reason than I had other things to do. It wasn't in my priority list, but last 2 days I've been, while I'm grading, I've been watching the YouTube recaps of the Kavanaugh confirmation hearings. And listen, man, I about want to vomit.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll sum it up like this. What happened to the, forget the fact that we've got career politicians at this point, all right? Forget that. But what happened to this notion of at least act presidential, act like a statesman or woman, however, statesperson, meaning you're supposed to carry yourself with a certain level of dignity and appear to be beyond reproach.
That's right.
Where did that go? People want to claim that these millennials and the internet generation are destroying society. Look no further than those who are publicly serving us in Congress. And I'm not talking about any particular party line. I'm saying all of them.
They're all absolute scumbags, man. And I don't mean that in I don't like career politicians because I don't like career politicians. We've made that clear. I don't think that's what politics.
Except for the fact that we're going to have one Carolina.
Oh, I'll get to that later.
Pirate party.
I'll get to that in a few minutes. Speaking about scumbags, but I mean it in a way where the behavior is gross. Because, like you said, but on principle, you ought to be holding yourselves and your colleagues to higher standards. You should be something that millennials aspire to be like, especially as representatives of our culture and our society, right? I mean, as a nation, yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And this bullshit, man, from both sides. Like, I mean, if I could get a couple of them in a room, my first question would be, how many times do you have to practice in front of a mirror before you get those deliveries that good? Because like that one dude on the Republican side went off and I timed it. I watched it like 2 or 3 times in a row where he had, because their responses are timed, right? They only have so much time to talk per person. And so he had it punctuated where he grandstanded, asked the dude a question, grandstanded, asked the dude a question, grandstanded, and his grandstanding was either directed towards the Democrats and attacking them or answering the very question that he had just asked the judge. Like, the other thing I would like to understand too is, do these fuckers actually get any more votes out of this behavior? Like, does it actually work as a marketing technique? Because that's what it is.
I don't know. Here's the, from that part of it. I mean, people in Congress, they very rarely, in the Senate at least, do things change hands.
Right.
It doesn't happen. Mainly because of this. And you can go back through history of us voting. Republican states tend to always vote Republican. You want to know when things change? When the people that are in Democrat states get fed up with a Democrat and they vote Republican. That's the only time we've had a Republican president, has been when a blue state flips to red.
Right.
So, but regardless of that, I don't know if this guy did it or not. I don't, I'm not here to judge that. That's not, I don't know. I was not there. And people who seem to be there, something may have happened for sure. Well, maybe that's not the right word. Something certainly happened to this lady. I don't disbelieve that. What I've heard in different testimonies is, at least what Brett Kavanaugh was probably at this party. maybe, he was there. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. But this is what I know if I'm Brett Kavanaugh. And I would only say this, and I would not look at anything other than this statement to any of these allegations. Members of the committee, I have been investigated X amount of times by the FBI and various government agencies throughout my judicial career. Never once has anything of this nature been found.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have said another damn word. Well, because this is what's particularly gross to me too. This isn't a criminal proceeding. It's not even a civil suit. And like, I don't remember her name. Harris, I think, is a Democrat.
Yeah.
And her first question, I don't know what day it was because I'm not watching these videos in order. Okay. Her first question to him is, have you ever talked to anybody about the Mueller investigation? And and you can just see he's like, I know you're trying to trap me, but I don't know what you're trying to trap me into. So how am I supposed to answer this? And what I wanted to say was, what in the fuck does that have to do with anything? If now we've moved into this phase where this has become a hearing as to whether I've done this criminal act, which is the allegation, then first of all, this is a kangaroo court. I mean, right? Because it's not a court. But on top of it, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? So, let's take this position because I haven't watched anything past these few videos. Okay. Right. So even like the original confirmation hearing, I really haven't watched yet because I haven't gone back that far. Let's assume the worst case. Let's assume that it did happen. Is this the way to handle it? I mean, I'm watching this whole thing and I'm thinking to myself, is this the best we can do as Americans, as human beings? This is the best we can offer ourselves, really.
That's a good point.
I say no. I say we're capable of way more than this.
I believe, yes, we are capable of more than this, but not under the current folks that are in Congress.
Not the current climate, sure.
Yeah. Our politics have become theater. What are they doing? I mean, you can say whatever you want about, John McCain. You could say he was a coward, whatever. I don't believe any of that. I mean, there are people who say that because of what he did.
Trump said it, yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't believe that at all. This man did, in my opinion, I don't really ever felt like he got into the theater of politics. You know what? He lost the presidential race, and he didn't go and try to make President Obama look bad. He went back to being a senator, and I felt like he was a pretty good statesman. What happened to that? Why are we, all of a sudden Lindsey Graham is this voice of the Republican Party? I'm going, what?
Sorry, real quick to interject. You know who that dude reminded me of? There Will Be Blood. The little boy preacher. And in fact, I'm almost convinced he'll never admit it that's the character he's playing. Because I don't for a minute believe he believes in anything he's saying. It's all grandstanding. It's all theater. Exactly. Well said.
It's all theater. And I don't believe any one of them. Not one. And Dianne Feinstein, how is she still a senator? She literally hired someone that was a spy. I mean, and she's going to go on about some of these things? Get out of here, man. These people, you want to change the United States? Whoever is currently in Congress, do not vote for them.
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Vote opposite.
Right.
And then let's see. You want to see a big change? Just vote opposite. Feinstein is currently there. Vote someone else. I'm not saying vote Republican. I mean, if you believe that you in the Democrat way, just don't vote for Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah. Vote for a third party.
Yeah. I mean, another person that's a Democrat's going to be on that ticket. Vote someone else.
Right. See, and that's what's interesting is because if you vote for what exists, to me, it's insane to think that you're going to get any different result. Why would the result be any different, man? Nothing is going to change.
That's right. I'm going to look up right now. How long has Dianne Feinstein been in Congress? Oh,
It's been decades. I mean, I don't think she has the seniority of some of the other people, but she ain't new. And man, over time, her name is steadily getting more mentioned. The party's been promoting her more and more. See, and
she's held the seat since 1992. Dude, that's what is that? Is that shit? This is 2008, 26 years.
I'll quote Slayer. That's a season in the abyss. So here's the problem with change, though, man. So as you guys know, I've been working towards establishing a pirate party in the state of North Carolina.
The northern
territory of the sovereign Carolina.
Yeah.
I can't get anybody to even respond to me, man. You want to talk about clown shoes. You want to be taken seriously
as a pirate, and they don't want people that look like a pirate.
Man,
you gotta put on a suit and tie when you're on this show.
I don't know what is going on. I've looked into some of because here's the thing, man. They haven't even updated their biannual meeting minutes on the U.S. Pirate Party website. Like it's way out of date. And when I go into IRC and I try to look at the history, it's indeterminate at best. So if you're going to take yourself seriously and you are serious about trying to solve some of these, let's say, political issues, because I think it's a problem with the culture of politics itself, right? Mm-hmm. Man, you got to be like, hey, man, if somebody wants to help us, why wouldn't we respond to them? It ain't that hard. It's an email. I've sent 2 now. 2 to the 2 leading members of the National Party.
Can't tell you. Don't know.
So I'm going to do it myself. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I found out that this is one of the beauties, by the way, of living here, is apparently we have some family members on city council. Well, I mean, they're my extended family, but they're part of Mrs. Pitten's direct family. And so I'm going to go buy them lunch or coffee or drinks at dinner and be like, hey, listen, man, how do we get this ball rolling?
And so the corruption begins. Started to get family favors.
Nepotism, man. Hey. Dude, I ain't asking them to help me.
The corruption of being a politician has already started.
Hey, listen, man. When you've decided to be a puppet master, sometimes you have to pull some strings, right?
It happens. I think sometimes people you get involved in things and you find out the only way to make a change is you have to get along. It's favors in some way, shape, or form.
And I think that's completely healthy, just like a personal relationship. Whether it's intimate or just friends, as long as everybody has the same idea of capital T, truth that they're working towards. You can have different vehicles to get there, and that's I think that's actually healthier than having just one.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I mean, I can't say that I like everything about President Trump, but I will say this thing, that this is something that I do respect. He doesn't care what you think as a politician. He's going to do what he thinks is right, and he's not going along any party line. And you know what? This was one of the things growing up when I was, my so to speak summer job growing up. I was an umpire. I made I think it was $20 a game. That was good money, right? And I was always taught if you want to know you're doing a good job as an umpire, you either want both teams completely mad or both teams happy. And what I think about President Trump, is that he's got both political parties mad, so he must be doing something right.
Well, to be fair and objective, I think there's things that inarguably he's done well. I didn't see North Korea talking to anybody else. I mean, you got to recognize the significance of that. It's theater, don't get me wrong, but that's a pretty extreme step. I mean, remember, we celebrated as a culture Nixon's efforts to go to China.
Yeah.
And that was pretty revolutionary. So I don't know how you can view this conversation that apparently is still going on now via love letters, I read this morning, between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump.
I don't know, but I say this, so out of the many things that he has done, probably my biggest disagreement is what he's trying to do with tariffs. It's been proven tariffs don't work. It's a thing of the past, and really you're just hurting the United States more. If you want to, I think he was on to something where if you're an American company and you're producing over there, I'm going to tax the shit out of you. I'm going to make it so painful for you as an American company when you're not producing here in America. I mean, of course, if you got rid of unions and the minimum wage, it would also help. But, what do I know? $15 an hour at McDonald's,
Well, right. I mean, and that's that. I was reading something last night.
Replace them with bots. Replace them with integrated, video machines like they do. Like I had one when I got my car rental when I was down in Orlando. I call up, dude's already there. How may I help you? Why not walk up right to that video screen and it tells the people in the back who are cooking? I mean, that just got rid of like 4 people.
Wait a minute, man. Listen, this is serious. I've worked on this shit. You can automate the entire place where there's no humans in the building at all except for the guests. It's been doable for a long time.
Oh, I bet.
The reason they won't do it is the same reason why people don't use full automation for call centers. Because we still have this hang up as humans that we want to talk to another human. Somehow it's different. And psychologically it is. I mean,
so I would say I don't want to talk to him.
Oh, well, man, I mean, that's a paradigm shift that's inevitable. It's going to have to be overcome. So, in that, I don't want to talk about voting machine technology, but technology in an abstract as a participant in what I view as your civic obligations.
All right, so dude, I got something for you. Ready?
Hit me.
A machine learning algorithm walks into a bar. The bartender asks it, "What do you want to drink?" It responds, "What's everyone else having?"
That's a clever. I like that one.
I don't know where I read that, but it was pretty funny.
That's good, man. That's good. Oh, that's true, though. Well, and here's the thing. This is something maybe some of our viewers might not understand about machine learning algorithms or what people are calling AI, which I don't call AI. Well, whatever, man. You can call it whatever you want, but it ain't smart. It ain't intelligent. It imitates learning. They emphasize certain skews and data points, right? So, if you turn it loose on YouTube comments, it's going to give you a picture of the world that's pretty bleak and toxic. Which, by the way, man, we really don't have that many comments, and I'm good for it because I think at some point I'd probably snap. And I don't know if I could hold myself back from having to dig in and comment like Dan.
Oh, dude, you're just like Jay from Jay and Silent Bob. You're gonna go off the look. Are you Chad 124 Wizzy?
Do you remember that when they got on the plane? They flew around beating the shit out of everybody?
That would be you.
Yeah, I got my thresholds, man. I'm willing to ignore a lot of bullshit for a long time, but at some point you've crossed the line. And now it's immediate retribution.
That would be hilarious.
But why can't I directly participate in my government at all levels? The technology is there. I'm not talking about voting machines and shit like that, right? But why do I even need a federal or even a state level representative?
Well, we don't need. I
don't need a representative for Survivor Island.
No, not for something along those lines. But we're talking about a direct democracy, I don't think, I mean, which is kind of closer to where you're aiming towards, I don't think works. Because there are, we only see, this, we were talking about this not too long ago. We only see the world from one particular position, because we have our day-to-day life is involved in the people that are directly around us. What Congress and our representatives are supposed to be doing is that they're supposed to have, because their job is to be taking a look at the bigger picture for shaping the United States. And as a direct democracy, we're only going to vote based on what the little world that we know in our day-to-day life, because that our job is much more than those directions. Mm-hmm. So they're supposed to be doing that. And the failures that we have today is that they are doing nothing more but also looking at just their day-to-day life. They have forgotten that their job is to take a look and hear the bigger issues and how to shape the country. They're grandstanding and they're in it for them. They're no longer in it for the country. And they make, I mean, this is the whole, you want to really make sure, stop paying them $300,000 a year. It's that simple. They were not, it was not meant for that. You want to do public service? Why should a public servant be making $300,000 a year or more?
Right.
Cut it. We're like, hey, we're giving you just a fair stipend. You got a housing allowance here, and we're giving you $100,000.
It's actually the perfect test bed, and I'll come back to your point in a second. It's actually the perfect test bed for a guaranteed universal income.
Yeah, sure.
Eliminate it, because you essentially have a universal income for them right now. It's just, I think we can agree, exorbitantly high. I mean, it's far beyond what would be a standard of living.
Right, and far beyond. You get a house. Here's almost like a dormitory. You know what? While you're here is your 3-bedroom condo, and it's basically, y'all are all in the same building.
Yes.
So here's your 3-bedroom condo. You can make the argument, if you have kids and you have more than 2, okay, then we'll accommodate. This is where you are, and you get $100,000 a year. There's no housing, there's no car, allowance, so to speak, and here's your $100,000. How long are you going to do this?
There's another area that you're describing in detail where we already do a universal minimum income, and that's in the military.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're talking about. And I'm 100% for it.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how much a general makes, but I don't think it's that much money overall compared to what a general has to do, based on, how many people they command. But they're doing it because they're going, hey, after I've done this for 20 years, I can retire and I make the same amount of money and I can go do something else.
Right.
Hey, Congress could be the same way. Hey, you get this X amount of money as a junior senator or congressman, and as you've done more, you get a little bit more, because it's supposed to be public service. Your reward is supposed to be like that of a teacher. A teacher gets their reward not from direct monetary income, but from helping students realize their potential. Well, why is Congress not the same way? Why do we hold them in such a higher esteem? They shouldn't be. Your job is to be a public servant and to shape this country, and you're not. You're shaping yourselves and making your wallets fatter.
Right. And on that hand, I don't blame them for following the incentive system. I don't. That's human nature. I blame us as a body for not putting a stop to it when it's clearly gone way too far. And that's the thing. I have yet to meet somebody that disagrees with the point that our federal politicians are grossly overpaid. I've yet to hear anybody disagree with that. So why are you voting for them? Why aren't we demanding that change? So to come back to your point, yes, I agree, particularly at the scale of our federal government, because of the size of our nation, not only geographically, but in population, a direct democracy doesn't work. I don't know that it can work at some state levels, let alone some city levels, just because of the size. I don't know that you can have a direct democracy in Los Angeles or New York City, for instance, or even Washington, D.C. as a district. Right. But man, there has to be more we can do using technology to at least participate. Maybe not, and again, I'm not talking about voting on things, but to have a direct voice, even to our representatives. I mean, what are you left with now? Writing an email or leaving a voicemail? What?
Oh yeah, they don't. I mean, they don't respond to anything on Twitter. It's a sham.
Dude, it's 2018. It's 20 fucking 18, man. I booked a vacation last night and I booked it for 2020. This is the best we got? Come on, man. Come on, dude.
Well, speaking of some of the best we got, I think this is, in somewhat shaping it away from politics, and I think this is great. Elon Musk is no longer the chairman of Tesla. Because he thought he was the Wolf of Wall Street. There, he could do whatever, untouchable. Dude, he had to pay $20 million, and the SEC had him, in their sights. They offered him a better deal. He said no. So they immediately said, "Fine, no problem. See you in court."
Yep.
They were going to throw the death. They were going to give him the death penalty. You would never have been able to be the CEO of any publicly traded company.
So I was actually going to ask you about this offline, but fuck it, let's talk about it now. Do you think he's actually committed fraud in some way, or do you think this is another Martin Shkreli, where he's just pissed off enough rich people, like filthy rich, that they're tired of his antics and his bullshit?
Yes.
But I do too. And again, I've never disagreed with you as far as I think he's a fantastic businessman. I don't. I think he's a good engineer. I didn't say fantastic. I think he's a good engineer. I think he's a good idea person. But it smacks of exactly what happened to Martin Shkreli, except Martin Shkreli didn't go away. Well, I mean, he did now, but he went in handcuffs.
Yeah, I think it's both. I think he's also too arrogant to a point where he believed he could beat anything and that he was smarter than everyone else. The part where they got him was that they believed that he was, so as CEO of any publicly traded company, everything you say is on the record, and you are to never lead your stockholders or the market into something that is false. And he never had stuff lined up to go private. He said that, and it was a false statement.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And him going, him trying to backtrack on that is what got him. There's no such thing as satire when you're talking about the stock market, and that's where they got him.
Right.
And he, I think he is a good business person. I don't think anywhere, shape, or form that he's this brilliant engineer, scientist that people give him credit for. But I give him credit for at least coming up with an idea or hearing an idea from those that are respected, and he has the means to bring it to reality.
Right.
There will be fast followers who do better. But I think it's great that the SEC said, no, enough of this. No way. You're not doing it. So he had to step down as chairman. Good. I'd remove, you want Tesla to succeed? Put someone as the CEO who can actually make it succeed. That's not Elon Musk. It's not.
Well, it's the other side of what we've talked about before, where I've expressed this notion that when you want to build a company, you need somebody that's creative and innovative. But when you have that creation established, that's not the right person to run it anymore, because they'll blow it up, because they'll just tack on idea after idea after idea, and you'll never deliver. You need somebody that's conservative and a manager to, once that vision has been created, to stabilize it and run it.
Absolutely. And if I was Elon Musk, I would have done the opposite. I'd been like, I'm going to step down as CEO. I'm not stepping down as chairman, because as chairman, I have a voice and a vote to choose who's going to be my successor to help the company. So I would have done that. And here's a great example of who was the CEO of Microsoft after Bill Gates left? Was that Ballmer?
I think it was Ballmer, wasn't it? Yeah.
All right, he didn't last very long, right? Was there another dude between Ballmer and Satya? Is it Satya?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it? I'll look it up while you're talking.
Is that how you pronounce the name, Satya?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've never heard it. I've never listened to the guy talk.
So I just got back from Microsoft Ignite in Orlando. Satya is this guy. One, he can talk. Two, what he has done to Microsoft in this short time period, I think, is amazing and putting them on a very, very good track.
I think you pronounce it Satya.
Satya. Okay. And I think he's doing great. So Bill Gates leaves. Microsoft basically takes a huge downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was not only just Ballmer, even though he got paid. And if there was someone after that, I don't remember. But the current guy, amazing. This guy is leading Microsoft to a better place. Elon needs to do the same thing. Bill Gates recognized he could no longer do it. Not that he had to. His vision for Microsoft, for himself, he couldn't see beyond what he had already accomplished, and he knew. Say whatever you want about Bill Gates. There's plenty of people who think this guy is evil. Well, you know what? He does more for charity than what Steve Jobs has ever done.
I just looked up, and by the way, it went Gates, Ballmer, and then this new dude, Satya.
Okay, so Ballmer just basically crippled Microsoft.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Elon needs to take a page from Bill Gates and go, look, you know what? I've got it to this point, but I am not a manufacturer. I don't know how to do this. He has not yet delivered anything on time. He has missed every prediction by a country mile. Not even close. Get someone in there who knows how to run this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the exact point. And I was going to say, let's talk about examples of people that are self-aware enough to know when to get out of the way of what they've constructed. And Bill Gates is a perfect example of that. There was really nothing left that he could provide in innovation. And man, how much fun is management if you're not a manager? See, I think that was Ballmer's mistake, is he was a conservative manager of questionable ability, but he tried to be the idea guy. And the guy was an absolute clown. Absolute fucking clown.
Right. Musk needs to do the same thing. I don't think he can do any more. And they're bleeding cash. Bleeding. They're gonna have to sell stock pretty soon in order to be able to make it, because they're burning something like $1 billion a month or some crazy number.
It's high. I don't remember what it was, but I was reading about it this week. It's hemorrhaging. Hemorrhaging is a better word.
Yeah, they're hemorrhaging. And I personally think I'm not a fan of the car. I like the idea, but I would never buy one for that kind of cash. Dude, I'm buying something much better.
Well, yeah, man, if I'm going to drop 75, 80K on a car, I ain't, as much as I want an electric vehicle, I ain't getting a Tesla.
Nope.
No, I'm getting a high-end BMW, or I'm going back to Porsche.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do it. The car's not. It looks cool, but it's not that kind of cash to me. I mean, it's a $45,000 car.
Right.
Maybe 50, but even still, I'm not paying 50 grand for that car.
Well, right, particularly because it ain't just the car, man. I mean, you ain't going to a supercharger station every day to charge it. And even if you are, now it's limited.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, dude, I don't have a hookup here. I don't have the ability to generate solar here. No. Now, you can say there's good things like the battery technology, like their wall packs. I read a report this morning while we were waiting to get this started. And I guess his battery packs are far exceeding expectation on their performance, not on their delivery.
Yeah, yeah.
Which again is a thing. What's that?
Yeah, if you can get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the thing. Like, he's the perfect example as to why you need people who understand supply chain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clearly, he doesn't have someone that's doing that.
No.
Maybe he needs to have someone who goes to Ross. He needs a Michigan gangster.
But see, I think this is why it's so important to be self-aware and to set limits for yourself. No different than, how you set your positions if you're trading, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know when you want to exit or when you want to buy, so you set those triggers up ahead of time, so you don't have to manually get involved and then your emotion and you can't think. You pre-decide, and I think that's the secret to a lot of things, man. It's why I do this schedule, and it's so successful. Everything's pre-decided. You might say predetermined.
No,
right?
Pre-decided, because sometimes I have to decide that, hey, dude, there's no way I can get there today.
Yeah, well, hey, it doesn't mean you don't have free choice.
Yeah. So speaking of that, if I'm Conor McGregor, after I win this coming Saturday, I'm then going to announce I'm going down a division to go take that one back.
Yeah. I'm wondering, man. So, by the way, I don't know if you ever watch, I don't remember the one dude's name, but the one I really like is Dan Hardy. And they do the extended breakdowns. I was going to send you the link last night. I am absolutely convinced, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, Conor's going to stop him.
Oh, yeah.
The more I watch their previous fights, the more I listen to technical analysis of them as fighters, and the more I think through it, I think it's inevitable.
Irish gangster greater than Muslim gangster.
Did you almost say terrorist?
No, in this case, I'm just calling.
I have no more. I could be surprised because, of course, anything could be happen, which is part of the fun of watching a fight, particularly of this magnitude.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look at it on paper, so to speak, the classic MMA math, as it were, I have no question in my mind.
The only thing that hurts Conor is if he gets taken to the ground. He was able to get up against Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz is no joke with his jiu-jitsu, right? He's no joke, and he was able to get up. Sometimes, but if he does not invoke his inner Chuck Liddell and figure out how to not get taken down, it's gonna be a very quick night for Nurmagomedov.
He's stuck in a bad situation, man, where what are you going to do? Stand still and make Conor come to you? That doesn't work out well. Eddie Alvarez tried that. That's exactly what Alvarez did when he watched what happened to Aldo.
Yeah.
He didn't buy into it. What opened my mind to this, man, was after the Floyd Mayweather fight and the Eddie Alvarez fight showed this as I saw it. Conor made a very specific adjustment in his boxing and how he manages the movement, which is very different than what he did to Aldo. And the way he is able to close that distance if you don't buy into his feints, right? So right. Eddie Alvarez actually, people think he just went in there and brawled. He didn't. He actually made a smart move and not crossing this plane of forward and backwards movement. But Conor had predicted that and at least trained this very specific mode of moving your feet in boxing. And that's how he destroyed it.
Right. And what people don't know, what people don't realize with what Conor has done previously is he gives you a false presence of being closer than what he is, because he leans where and that leaning allows him to be able to lean back, and it's a false presentation of being closer than what you are.
Right.
You do that with Eddie, because Eddie stood still. He basically, Alvarez went lateral, trying to get off of the straight line.
Yeah.
Did not work well either.
Well, see, and Conor does this interesting thing too, where, because I'm left-handed as well, so typically what you want somebody to do is circle into your power hand. Yeah. That way they're moving into it. Conor does the opposite. He forces you to move away from it, and then he uses his cross. Yeah, and then he uses his speed to cut the angle.
Yeah.
See, but then it minimizes his movement because he's already off on an angle. He's not straight in front of you anymore. And you've created that yourself. So what's going to be interesting is, what is Khabib going to do? Is he going to stand there like Eddie Alvarez? Or is he going to try to rush him like Aldo did? Because you got to do one or the other.
Well, if I'm Nurmagomedov, I don't rush. And I would stalk. I'm going to go slow, because here's the thing that Conor's not going to try and take you down.
No, probably not.
No. He's just not. That's not his thing. So you're going to have to stalk him. You're going to have to cut the angles, and you're going to have to slowly, methodically move in. If you go too fast, you're done. But if you sit back, you're done. You have to be slowly moving forward. I mean, the way to beat Conor is just like how Nate Diaz did. First, you better hope he could take a punch.
Yeah.
Nate can take a punch, even though he got stunned several times. And I think on a number of those occasions, I thought the ref was going to call it before he won the last fight. Nurmagomedov cannot take a punch. If whatever that Aya dude's name is, I don't even want to pronounce his name. He shouldn't.
Aya Quinta.
Whatever. He shouldn't have even been fighting. I don't even know how that was a sanctioned bout. So he couldn't take a punch from Aya Quinta. Dude, he's going to get hit by dynamite.
Dude, yeah, I would not. Listen, man, I've been hit and I've been rocked. I don't think I would want to get hit. I've never been hit by somebody that has power like that.
$1 million, I'll do it.
Well, and I box, so I had boxing gloves on and headgear. And the headgear isn't to keep you from getting knocked out; it's to keep you from getting cut. But it makes a difference, man. And I've been hit, and I've never been hit with somebody that has power like that. That's scary. And you see it. I mean, look what happened to Eddie Alvarez.
If he hits me, I could get hurt really badly. So it's going to be at least $1 million.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, so here's the other thing too.
Net $1 million. That's after taxes.
Oh, that's right. That's right, dude. That's right. So
any number I quote is always the after-tax amount. Just I'll put that disclaimer out there in perpetuity.
Yeah. So you might be talking 1.52 minimum. Gross.
Yeah. Right.
So here's the thing too, man, and I looked this up. In the first Diaz fight, Conor threw more punches than he had in all of the other 7 fights in which he stopped somebody. It was something like, within the first 7 or 8 minutes, it was almost 200 punches.
He was fighting someone that outweighed him by like 40 pounds. Easily by 40 pounds.
Right. So then compare that to the Alvarez fight. When he was much... Even the Floyd Mayweather fight was a good example of this. Because it did go 10 fucking rounds.
Yeah.
His volume was very different. So, I don't know.
All of a sudden, he had like 10-ounce gloves on.
It actually, man, it's hard because it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy, dude.
People don't think 10 ounces is a lot when you're throwing a couple hundred punches.
That's right. So it'll be interesting to me to see how Khabib decides. I think what's going to immediately show us what's going on is who gets the center of the octagon first, because Conor loves riding that edge of the middle and forcing you into the cage, back and sideways.
Well, no,
so does Khabib.
I think Khabib takes the center of the octagon. One reason that you're probably not thinking about.
Go ahead.
Because Conor wants the blood of Khabib to be right on his logo, and that's in the center of the octagon.
The other thing, actually, I'm curious to see is he going to have a commercial playing on the breaks between fights for the pay-per-view?
That would be hilarious. It might. I mean, it's a sponsor. I mean, other sponsors have, right?
Sure. Yeah. Harley, Bud Light, whatever. I don't know, man. I'm absolutely convinced Conor's going to stop him.
I think he does. I'm not. The more and more I keep seeing different things, I'm going second round now, not third. I think Khabib gets knocked down, and he's going to see that power in the first round, just like Eddie Alvarez said. I didn't think. Here's the thing: Eddie Alvarez is a true, lightweight, and Connor still isn't really a true lightweight. Like he could easily make the weight class below.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why Nate Diaz is fighting at 165, because that's probably the better weight for him, because the dude probably walks around 200 pounds.
Yeah, my understanding is 200 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, dude's like 6'1". 6'1" and an athlete. Yeah, it's very easy for him to put on to get to that 20% body fat, and then that's what you're going to lose in the month of cut, and you could easily cut that.
I'll tell you what I want to see after this.
Yeah.
I'll call this right now, man. I don't know if you remember in Pride, there was a Japanese hero. His name was Sakuraba. And one of his first big main stage fights was against one of the Gracies, Hoist Gracie. He fought him twice. In fact, the second fight is Hoist Gracie popped for steroids. And so then because Sakuraba beat him handedly.
Popped for steroids.
Yeah. I mean, so the next Gracie came and Sakuraba beat him and so forth and so on. And Sakuraba became known as the Gracie killer because he fucked them all up. I want to see Connor, assuming he wins, because I don't think this works so well as a narrative if he loses. If he wins, I don't want to see him fight Nate a third time. I want to see him fight Nick and become the Diaz killer. Now, I don't think that's a great fight for him.
No, because here's why. Nick Diaz is even bigger than Nate.
Yes.
And I don't think Connor can win that fight.
I don't know, but I want to see it.
Not in a he might win by decision. But here's the thing. Nick Diaz was fighting up in welterweight against like Anderson Silva.
Yeah, well, and George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the super fight people have been talking about is St. Pierre versus Connor or Woodley versus Connor.
Connor can't win that fight either.
Oh, I would never question GSP then, not once.
Yeah.
And but I don't think that's a compelling fight. It doesn't have a story behind it.
Right. Now, him fighting Nick would have a story.
Yes.
But I don't think you can win that fight either. Nick, it's about size in this case, because Nick is even bigger than Nate.
Yes.
You're talking about. I mean, you're not able as a striker to give up 50, 60 pounds and expect to win.
Right.
This is the same reason why. Now heavyweight, you there's always a possibility. When you got someone that weighs 240, 250 pounds, it doesn't matter too much. And this is the same reason though why I don't believe Daniel Cormier is going to knock out Brock Lesnar. That's not going to happen.
Do you think he's going to win?
No, I don't think he wins either. I don't think he can out wrestle him.
I don't think so either. I think Lesnar's going to maul him.
Right? Not because DC. Yes, he is an absolute animal wrestler. Hats off to the guy. But you can't out wrestle someone that outweighs you by 60 pounds.
That is a good wrestler themselves.
Right. If you're both world-class athletes, I don't think you can. If they were the same weight, then I say DC wins, because their wrestling skills are of a different par. Being an NCAA champion versus an Olympic wrestler, big difference. But not when you're giving up 60 plus pounds.
Right.
Because Brock Lesnar weighs over 300.
Right. I mean, you're talking about somebody that is probably not as long, but close to being as tall as John Jones, but probably 100 pounds heavier.
Easily 100 pounds heavier.
Dude, could you imagine that guy walking at you? Shut up.
Now, I think John Jones could beat Brock Lesnar.
Yes, I would agree with
that. Because John Jones won't have a problem being taken down and then submit you. DC's submission skills can't do that.
Well,
John Jones doesn't beat him knocking him out.
Right, and John is long.
Yeah. John Jones would beat him via submission.
This is the callback. Do you remember when Tim Sylvia was the champion at light heavyweight, and he was squeaking out decision after decision, and a short, stocky jiu-jitsu dude fought him named Jeff Monson. and Tim Sylvia literally put a hand on the dude's forehead and just kept him at the end of his arm for back then there was only 3-round fights. They didn't have 5 rounds yet. and that was it.
Yep.
That was it. He couldn't get past his arms. The dude just had gorilla arms and just held him out there.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you know this? That Jeff Monson now is like some ambassador in Russia.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know the details of what it is or the background about it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, you remember when Tim Sylvia got his arm broke?
Yes. Dude, I remember watching that thinking, oh, Jesus, man. I think that was like Herb Dean's first fight, too.
Yeah.
That was way back in the day.
And that person also submitted Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Oh, my God, man. But, dude, yeah, I'm actually – this is the first – there were fights last night. There was a Bellator card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But this is the first one I've been really excited about since the last time Conor fought.
And if I'm Conor, I'll announce that I'm going down a weight class. I'm just going to keep making the UFC strip me of a belt.
Which is interesting. Why haven't they stripped DC?
DC's too nice.
Well, he's a company man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Conor's not. Conor's my own brand man. So anyway. All right, my friend.
That's episode 89. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you later this week.
Yep, Thursday.
Let us know if you have any comments or questions. Otherwise, take care.
Peace.
Bye.